Okay, you've got a big idea and you're going to be working with these monster companies. During this video, I'm going to show you how to work with these big companies, but also how to get paid. So watch this video. Okay, first of all, you have to realize that when you come up with a lot of ideas, there's a very good chance you're not going to be working with these monster companies. I mean, these companies that are $1 billion companies. You're not going to be working with these guys. You're going to be working with smaller companies. But sometimes you're going to have a big idea and you're going to be working with these very large companies. So you need a different strategy. Okay, the first thing you need to realize, number one, you need to do a little research on the company that is your target. That's right, because if you're going to target these monster companies, you have to make sure they have the right culture. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that they do want to work with you. They do want to work with outside small companies, product developers. They embrace the word open innovation. That means they want to see new ideas and they have the right culture from the very top for them to want to see what you have. So it's all about culture. It's not about really the size, if they're going to be friendly or not. It's about the culture from the top. And if the company really believes in open innovation, it really believes that wants to be a leader, those are the type of companies you want to make sure you're going to reach out to. So that's the first thing to do. Okay, number two, you have to realize you're going to need to build a team. That's right. These companies that are so large, they don't work with independent product developers, inventors. They work with the team. They don't even know what to do with you. So you're going to need to build a team, but you need to build the right team. Now, what I like to do is look at my invention and make sure that I know how to manufacture it. Oh, and that's one of the first things I want to do when I'm building my team, to bring on the right guys, the right people that really know how to implement my invention within the supply chain of those monster companies. They know the material, they know the machinery, they know all of that stuff, because at the end of the day, your team is going to take away risk. It's going to give them confidence for them to work with you. So how do you find some of those team members? This is what I do. It's not that difficult. I look at my invention, I look at the industry that it's in, and I try to find some of these guys that are retired. Some of these guys that maybe they have a consulting company now, they've been working with the big guys, or maybe even the same companies you're trying to reach out to. That's even better. And I give them a call and I say, look, I need a little help. All right. There's a couple different ways I can structure that relationship with those potential team members. At the very beginning, I might just bring them on just to kind of ask them questions. So I might want to pay them an hourly rate. I might ask them, look, I need you as a consultant. I want to pay you an hourly rate, and have them sign an NDA with work for hire language. So whatever information they give you, you still own. Pretty simple. That way I can kind of test their knowledge. I can make sure they're the right people I want to bring on potentially. Now, long term, I might want that person on my team, because I'll tell you, if I'm in a meeting with some of these big companies and I've got a guy next to me that's been in the industry for 30 years and probably knows those people, it really goes well. So what I might do next is offer him a revenue share of whatever royalties I'm going to receive, to give him an incentive, right, to give me the best work and show up at some of these meetings and be part of my team. And also I could use his name on maybe my website, or when I do a pitch deck to show my team. Now, I might also want to bring on some other types of people, and I want to talk about that a little later. But it's all about taking away risk. It's all about having the right people on your team that kind of matches the people they're bringing to the meetings. And the first meetings you're going to have, let's talk about that too. These big companies are very cautious. Now, what does that mean? That means that you're probably not going to deal with the marketing people first. You're going to be dealing with engineers first, because they have to make sure number one, that this idea gets vetted, that we can actually do it before they show it to the marketing team. So those early team members that I'm bringing on, those are really manufacturing guys, and they're going to show me the fastest and most efficient way to manufacture my invention in the supply chain with those companies I'm targeting. That's right. That's why I need those guys. So building a team is going to be extremely important. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about some of the other people you're going to possibly need. Number 3, the one reason why I'm building this team that I really need to know something that's extremely important. What is it going to cost to implement my invention in that person, in that company's product line, right? What is it going to cost? Now, if I don't know that, it's really hard for me to take away risk, to give them the confidence they're working with the right guy. So I need to understand it, because at the end of the day, if they're really a smart company, and trust me, these big monster companies, they're pretty smart. They're going to want to know exactly, hey, is this something we can do? That's why you need those guys to understand the manufacturing. And what is it going to cost to implement it? Could be equipment, could be new dies, whatever it is. I need to have that type of information. So when they ask it, I'm confident to give it to them, and we can keep the project moving forward. So cost is really important. Here's the other thing about cost. If I have to add a lot of cost to machinery or cost to the product, it's not a great thing. It's just not, especially if I'm making an improvement on a product that's currently selling. Wow, do they hate that, adding cost? They don't like it at all. So that's why I try to bring the right guys on, build that team, so I can find the most efficient way to manufacture my invention in their product line. That's one way to keep the ball moving forward. So understand, number 3, understand the cost. Okay, number 4. This is my favorite. This is intellectual property. Okay, the reason why it's my favorite is that I need to have a little leverage. I need to have something that I own. I like perceived ownership. I like to have something I can say, I own it. That's why you have to pay me. The reason why that's so important working with these monster companies is that at the end of the day, if you don't have intellectual property, they're probably not going to pay you. They have to justify to everyone the reason why they're paying you. And the only reason to really do that is with an issued patent. I hate to say it, but it's true. Now, IP, intellectual property, filing patents, to me, is really important. You have to do it right. You have to really do it at a high level. So what I like to do, and I mentioned to you earlier about building the team, and the reason why that's so important, that one team member is going to give me information that I can use to file my intellectual property. The level of details that that person has, there's no way I'm going to have that level of detail. But I need to have that level of detail because I'm going to be working with engineers within that company, and I need to get past that gate first. And the only way to do that is have more information than they have. And the only way to do that is find an industry expert that can help me file good intellectual property. Now, I told you earlier that if he's a consultant, I can have him sign an NDA with work for hire language. But if I bring him on later as a permanent team member, I might want to give him a revenue share, right? And maybe give a little part of that, that royalty. But realize whatever contract you have at that point, you need to make sure that whatever he invents and gives to you, you own it. He has to assign it to you. Okay, great. So intellectual property, extremely important. You have to have it. Now, what's going to happen is that these companies that that you're dealing with, they're going to want to see some ownership. Now, when it comes to the licensing agreement, if you don't have a patent yet, it's going to say patent pending. You know, they're going to try to leverage, hey, you don't have a patent. We're not either going to pay you less, okay, or we're not going to pay you until patent issues. All right, I hate it. All right, so what I like to do, if I start to see some traction, if I start to see the interest level, I will take that well-written provisional patent application. You've heard me talk about it a million times. It has workarounds and variations and manufacturing techniques, has all that stuff. I will file a provisional patent application, and I will do it track one. What is track one? Track one is where I'm going to get in the front of the line. I'm going to pay a little extra money, but I'm going to be in line to get my patent application examined quicker at the USPTO. And I'll tell you, they're pretty darn fast at it. The last time we did one, it was 4 months, and I was able to get, I think, all the claims. So that helps me with some leverage. Okay, so that's why you really have to be sharp with your intellectual property. And I can talk a little bit more about that. If you need more information on how to strategize with these big monster deals to have the right patent portfolio, please contact me down below, because it's not what you think. You're going to need multiple provisional patent applications, and you're going to need to cover a lot to block them, right? So they cannot find the prior art. You know the prior art, and you're comfortable with it, but in such a way that you have confidence to go forward, knowing, hey, I know what I'm doing. I have a team that knows what they're doing. So pay me, all right, kind of. Also, I like design patents too. I do a combination of both, but there is a little bit of problem with filing early, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But your IP, your patent portfolio, you need to build a wall if it's a big idea. And I'll tell you, when I'm talking about a wall, I'm talking about something like that. When you build a wall of intellectual property, especially when you have big ideas, it gives them a reason, an incentive to pay you. Okay, number 5. Wow, marketing. I have to tell you, to get their interest, your marketing material needs to be spot on. It has to be just remarkable. And because when you're dealing with these monster companies, trust me, they're working with the best in the industry. And what does that mean? They're working with guys that are really good at this, and they're seeing some beautiful stuff. And if your stuff doesn't look that great, you can't play with these guys. So not only do you have to have something they want, but you have to have that marketing material that's just spot on. You know their business, you know the problems with what they're having with their customers, and you have a solution that's so easy to understand, and it's marketed in such a way they love it. Now, what's really great about this, sometimes let's put it this way, if your benefit is strong enough, you don't even need a prototype. You can do a 3D computer generated sample, or maybe a short little video that shows the benefit of it. And I'll tell you, it works beautifully. They're going to want a prototype a little bit later. I understand it. But sometimes at the very beginning, it's expensive, and sometimes you get them to pay for it. So the bottom line is this: your marketing material needs to be at a whole nother level here. It cannot just be, okay. No, it's got to be the best of the best. That way, these guys respect you. It's what they're seeing. That's how you get your foot in the door. So make sure your marketing material is amazing. Okay, number 6, budget. When you're working with really big companies, it's going to take a long time. And I hate to tell you, you're going to have to budget. You're going to need you're going to need time, and time is money. So you're going to need a budget. Where do you need the budget? Maybe with the marketing material, or that you can bring someone that's really good with the marketing, bring them on, give them a revenue share, or you can just pay them outright. But the bottom line is this: you're going to need some dollars here, because this thing just takes time with these big companies. They don't move that quick, and you don't want them to move that quick because bottom line, you want them to buy in and make good decisions. Okay, but you're going to need to be patient, okay, and you need a budget. The reason why, to file that fast track that we talked about, track 1 patent, to get that issued, you're going to spend money, and there's no way you're going to cut that deal to get them to pay for it first. So you're going to need to start to spend some money. In most situations, you're going to need more than 1 patent. So it's going to cost some money here. So you have to budget correctly. If you don't have the ability to bring the right team, put the marketing material together, and have some of a budget, I don't know if you can play this big game. Now, you have to realize what we're talking about is working with big companies. And in my situation, working with these big companies, these are consumables. So the numbers are staggering. And that means the royalties are staggering too. All right. A lot of times when I'm here, I'm talking about a lot of consumer products, like in the back, toys, kitchen, hardware, tools. It's not the same game here. that you can do on a smaller budget with some really good knowledge and a roadmap. I get it. But when you're working with the big guys, it's going to take longer, and you're going to need a team, great marketing material, understand the IP, have a budget. And if you don't, it's not going to be great. Okay. The bottom line is this. Okay. It's a knowledge problem and a money problem too, but it's more of a knowledge problem. But the bottom line is this. You have to have something they want. And I remember the early days when I was selling things at a street corner doing art festivals, that I knew how to make something that people would buy from me. That was really magical. I had something they wanted. It's no different if you're in a boardroom with all the executives of a billion-dollar company. You have to have something they want. So that's really the big picture here. The other thing too that I've noticed, to really get things to work, to instead of pushing these projects up the hill, I call it pushing a rock up a hill, you want the rock to roll down the hill. And the only way to do that too is have something that their customers want, okay, but at a price point, the cost. If you can do something at the same price or maybe a little bit more, you're in the game. But if your big picture idea is going to cost a lot of money, it just slows it down. So that's why you need industry experts to help you determine how to implement it in their supply chain in such a way it's pretty cost effectively. If not, it's going to go nuts. Okay. All right. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe down below, you guys. What's really important to me is that we talk about simple ideas. We talk a lot about that, but also talk about big ideas too, and talk about what type of strategy do you need to play the biggest game in the world, and that's called product licensing. I absolutely love it, but I like it because you can do this anywhere in the world. So thank you for watching inventRightTV, and I'll see you next time. Okay, you've got a great product idea and you're not quite sure what to do. Or maybe you've got inventory in your garage because you were selling your product on Amazon and you don't want to continue doing it, but you want someone to help you license your idea to a company to bring it to market for you. We have a new program that's called Gateway, where we do all the work for you. We'll find the right companies and the right people to make sure your product is pitched correctly to get the licensing deal. This new program is called Gateway. If you're interested, please check it out.